the prep for the board meetings was the tough part. It was really the making the copies, printing, not only for board, but for supervisory committee and for ALCO committees.
Typical board meetings for us was we would have 130 pages of board printed stuff, and you would have to go through that like a big, thick book, and it was always a pain to do that and read it in small print and so on.
So we sometimes had 3 packets going out, and prior to having an admin, it was myself, and then we had hired an administrative assistant, and she's compiling all that information, and we found that we didn't have a dedicated printer for her, so she was taking up time that all the staff was using as well, and so we were kind of in a holding pattern. So it just became quite inefficient and a waste of time and money for us.
And thus along came the idea of the iPad and Onboard. But literally, Onboard has changed our entire board meetings. They're much shorter, they're much more efficient, and secondly, lots more fun. Now, I say that, and I'm the oldest member of the board. I will be 81 in July, and I am the least tech savvy of anybody on the board, period.
I talked to a lot of people from various boards, again, from school boards to federal boards to credit unions. It doesn't matter. Onboard is a tool that can be used by anybody.
Once the group had decided on Onboard, and it was pretty simple from at least my standpoint, I just gave authority to my admin assistant to start working with Passageways and our IT department and see what we can do to get it going.
Well, my initial reaction with Onboard, I was kind of excited about it. I wanted to see how fast I can get those board packets produced. Actually, I had great help. Any questions I had, I used the tutorials, very easy to follow. It just seemed to work out really nicely.
And ever since we got Onboard, we've been using Onboard now for 3 months, and it's changed my life completely. Good example of that. At my home, I had rooms full of board agendas and information that we do at board meetings. As you see, I brought a little stack. This represents about 6 months of paperwork. I could never find things if I wanted to review and go back. It was difficult to find the pages I want, but ever since Onboard, it's just a real simple, easy way to find data I want. It's always there.
There is a lot of time saved using Onboard. I realized it recently when, well, we're all in a learning transition. So meaning that we're trying to get all the items put together. So once they give it to me, meaning the senior management, their material, all I have to do is just slide it right into the agenda that I created. So it's just so simple. If somebody was still working with the paper version of the board packets, I would definitely let the credit union know, or the person that I'm working with, that Onboard has been a saver in money-wise, paper-wise, time-wise. It's just a great product.
You know, if I were talking to a credit union that's still on paper, like we were for many years, I would say, you don't know what you're missing. We didn't either. It took us years and years just to think about an iPad. And then when we finally decided, the CEO said, well, but you know, they cost some money. And we said, my God, we have $240 million. We can't afford an iPad. And so, well, okay. So bottom line, we got an iPad. But then just an iPad doesn't change your world. You know, you got to do something with it. And thus we found Onboard. Onboard was the answer to our iPads. And I would say this to any credit union that doesn't have something like this. You're just a generation behind. And we didn't realize we were, because everybody said, well, we've been doing fine. We've done this. Our credit union's 50 years old. We're still doing well. You know, great. But wouldn't you like to do better? And I think Onboard is the answer to better.